Hey everyone, my name's Derek. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer here at Cybertech. Today I have Dominic, the CEO of Kentico, with us. Kentico is obviously one of our great DXP partners, so thank you, Dominic. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Cool. You recently, a week or two ago, wrote an article about the end of software as we know it, and I think the article's premise was you kind of went to your team and said, is Kentico even going to exist as a company 5 years from now? I guess, can you talk a little bit about, what prompted that question and, how that conversation with the team went?
Yeah. So with all of the changes which I really see in the market, and we all see, right, like the AI is changing pretty much the way how we work and live. I was really wondering, what's our future, and whether we really, as a company, have the right to exist in 5 years, right? And I mean, at the end of the day, right, we are for years known as a software for building websites, right? So there is a fundamental question, are websites gonna be here in 5 years from now, right? So this really started my thinking on this topic, and I was trying to figure out really what is our future in the new world driven by AI.
Cool. Which was a great question, and it was funny when I read the premise of it and the kind of the intro of the question, I was curious where you're going to go with it, and I think I liked where you went. I think you even may have mentioned, platforms like Wix, where anyone can kind of go and build a website pretty easily and cheaply, and obviously there's things like Wix, and then obviously AI now. You can probably go to Claude and say, build me a website, and it's probably going to build you a beautiful website, to be 100% honest, which is probably more of a threat to us than it is to you. But I liked where you went with it in that, great, AI can build your website, but it's not going to help with governance and compliance and content workflows and multilingual and stuff like that. So I guess maybe talk a little bit about why that as a DXP is a differentiator versus just having AI or Wix.
Yeah. So I think that I've formed this thinking already some time ago, where even pre-AI, I started to think about our solution more as the orchestration layer for the content, right? It's first of all system of record, right? So anything what you want to tell to your audience, to your clients, needs to be stored somewhere, right? And that system of record is the DXP, and then you have this whole governance around it, right? You need to make sure that you are sending the right message and so on, right? And this workflow, regardless where you wanna basically send this message to, and whether today it's still the website or social media or email, or in the future, it may be consumed primarily through solutions like ChatGPT and so on, right? That may be the case, but for us, really, this is just another channel, right? And when we started our new platform Experience by Kentico back in late 2020, and when we launched it in 2023, we already saw this paradigm shift, and so we've really put in the center of our product basically the thing which we called Content Hub, and there basically you have this storage of all of your content and the workflows and the governance around that, and then you can just distribute that content to whatever channel, and whether this channel is going to change in the future, very likely it's going to be different 5 years from now. But we built our platform to be able to adopt for that type of scenario.
Yeah, which makes sense, because obviously the web isn't going to go anywhere. When you look at AI and all these models like Claude and ChatGPT, they're largely driven off the web. I mean, that's where they're getting their content, that's what they're learning from. So we still need the web. But I think it's a good point around the Content Hub, in that even if the web's still going to be there, but it can be so much more than that. The Content Hub or any DXP can be that source for all of your models, your agents, and things like that. As people, obviously AI is not going anywhere, and we're going to be building out more and more custom agents to drive processes and things like that. But that data, that content driving that, has to live somewhere.
Yes.
And that's kind of what content management systems are made for, right?
So exactly, right? As the name suggests, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing which I will say is that and I'm using this analogy all the time, right? When you go somewhere on weekend to some shopping mall, you find shopping mall actually full of people. In fact, actually, I read recently some study which is saying that basically Gen Z is like the new prime customer for the shopping malls, you know, and
Yeah.
it's because in that mall you can, you know, touch, you can try, you receive that entire experience, you know. So it's not just about getting, you know, something bought, but it's about like, you know, that overall experience, meeting with the friends and so on, right? And to me, this is really the future of the web itself as well, right? Because like, you know, while ChatGPT or any other competitor is nice because it's, you know, this one like generic interface which can give you like all the information, you know, and today like with the agentic approach you can have, you know, things like OpenClaw and automate pretty much everything. It's still, you know, one generic experience, right? Like, and if actually you want to stand out as a brand, as a company in the future, and everybody's going to be fighting over the attention, right? Because like, you know, with vibe coding and so on, like you can build companies much easily than, you know, ever. But the thing is that like you need to stand out, right? And you are standing out for building the experience, right? Like take the example of, I mean, the brightest example of this is Starbucks back in the days, right? Like they weren't like, you know, by far the first one who invented like coffee shops, right? But you come there because of that experience. And I think that this is really the reason why people will be still interested in the future to going to, you know, the channels, whether this is like social media, whether this is mobile app, whether this is web app, but channel which is managed and governed and prepared by the company, because there you can really get that unified personalized experience which you know, generic AI tools not gonna give it to you.